Today, people, we're recording in the morning, which is a whole new kind of special. Yummy, 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 yummy. That is a poor man's mocha, if you did not know. A poor man's mocha is a little hot cocoa powder and your regular coffee, and it is very yummy. Anyways, this is Couple. Welcome back to A Couple Books. Let's stop talking about coffee, because today we have books. And I am going to be doing a lit RPG review of The Dragon's Revenge by Connor Kostick. Oh my gosh, so excited to tell you guys about this book. It was such a fun read. It was such a quick read, and I am super stoked to get into all the deets with you guys today, right here, right now. But first, another sip of the coffee. Okay, we're done now. We're done. No more coffee for at least the rest of this video. So, guys, this book was super much fun. I don't even know if that's English. This book was super fun to read, and I want to first tell you guys about this book by telling you a little about Connor himself, and then getting into the book review. So Connor is currently the commissioning editor over at Level Up. Level Up is where I discovered Nine Toes by Tim Andrews and Gamers by Cambry Varner. They've got a lot of great books coming up through them. It's absolutely amazing, and I adore them. They're all super kind people over there, and so that is one thing to take note of. Another thing to take note of about Connor is that he currently is living in Dublin, and he's won several awards for his writing. For example, in 2009 he won the Special Merit Award from the Reading Association. In addition to that, he has a PhD from Trinity College, and he lectures at UCD Dublin. He also has another fantasy lit RPG series out there called Epic. The first book was released in 2004. I think there's 4 out at the moment, if I do believe so. He also has created a live action RPG called Treasure Trap. Overall, this man is well-rounded in everything. He's well-rounded in his books, he's well-rounded in his education, he's well-rounded in his activities. Like, this man is amazing, and this book does not disappoint, and Connor is a fantastic person. So part of the reason I wanted to make this before reviewing his book is just to thank Connor and thank everyone in association with Connor for everything. The lit RPG community is a very warm and welcoming community, and that must be stated because it is nothing but the truth. With that out of the way, now let's get into the book itself. This book we'll be reviewing today by Connor Kostick is The Dragon's Revenge. Oh my gosh, people. Oh my gosh. There's so much I want to unpack in this video with you guys, but it's just going to be so difficult. And then in addition to that, also avoiding spoilers is going to be so difficult. What you guys need to know is that this book was utterly fantastic. This is my number 1 lit RPG book probably of the year. I'm guessing at this point there's still a few days left in 2020, so who knows what's going to happen, but this book is really good. I super enjoyed it. Let's just get into the plot. I'm going to keep it spoiler free, so everyone's safe here. Do not worry about that. As soon as I'm done here, you guys can go and buy the book, because you guys know you guys don't want to buy the book. Let's just get into it. Alright, ready, set, go! Number 1. This book is basically following this guy named Tom. Tom is this kid from Dublin. He lives in this really poor part of Dublin, and life is just hard on him. He's being raised by a single mom, and as someone who comes from a single mom's household, I know that is not an easy road. It is not necessarily super comfortable at home. They are getting by, though. They're getting by just fine. When he's not in the real world, dealing with high school or dealing with his living situation, helping his mom out, he is one of the best characters in a game called Epic. Epic is this amazing virtual reality MMORPG. He wears a Ready Player One type of suit, where it's the headset and the gloves, and then they stand on a device that allows them to mimic walking in the virtual reality game. So it is really cool. I am super down with that type of thing. It scares me a lot less. Some of these lit RPG books have people injecting things in your body, and that is no bueno. This is much better for me personally. Super love this idea. Anyways, so Tom is one of these amazing players. We are thrown into the book head first by getting thrown into one of Tom's raids. What is a raid, you may ask? A raid is when a whole bunch of PCs, player characters, get together, and this can be as high as hundreds, and they all get together and they all decide to go defeat one of the big bosses in these virtual reality games together. So if you guys don't know, like the Leroy Jenkins sound, it's like in every fantasy movie ever. Leroy Jenkins is actually from a raiding party where they were trying to plan out their raid, and then one of the players just ran in ahead. So that is a raid, and Tyro, who is Tom's avatar's name, Tyro is leading this raid against the dragon, who is like the biggest, baddest bad in the game itself. And the dragon's name I cannot pronounce. It is Mikarkathat, maybe. We're going to call her Mike. Mike that is called a she. Mike that's called a she, we're going to call her Mike that is a she. Mike that is a she is like the biggest bad dragon in this game, and it's not just like a bad boss, it is like a super duper bad boss, and they need to go take it down. So Tom and his allies go to fight the dragon and try and take it down. I will not tell you if they succeed or not, because that would probably be a spoiler, so you guys are going to have to find out by finishing chapter 1 of this book. Anyways, after the game, Uno Industries, which is the creator of Epic, decides to reach out to Tom and ask him if he can come help them with a problem. And he considers it, and after some deliberation, he eventually comes out and says, I will come help with the problem. Of course, the problem is not so minor. The problem, in fact, is that in Epic 2, which is going to be the next game in the Epic series, and it's going to be like basically a better version of the current game that he's playing, they decided to make the bosses like super awesome in this game. And how did they do that? They decided to instill within them AI technology. AI technology is artificial intelligence, so basically giving the bosses in this game the ability to self-decide and to self-choose options. This basically makes them more intelligent. It basically removes the handicaps that some bosses have. If you guys have ever played a video game, you guys know where a boss's blind spots are. You know how to strategize around that. This AI technology is basically there to prevent that. It basically prevents players from jostling it into defeating it by using tricks and methods such as that. The problem is that what didn't realize is that by doing that, they've created a really big problem. And then they made this problem bigger, which I will not tell you the problem just yet, but they made the problem bigger because in order to make this game super fast and super available to everyone across the world, they decided to spread the game out on multiple servers. So this game is spread out throughout the world. It's not just like kept within the warehouse where like Epic is kept. It is spread throughout the world so that it is easy to get across national firewalls and that kind of stuff. But now the problem is they discovered is that the dragon, Mike that is a she, is actually like super duper overpowered. The technology has allowed for Mike that is a she to basically take on sentience and consciousness, and now she has decided that she is going to basically collect and gather all the other bosses in the game and turn it against the PCs, against the player characters, so that player characters such as Tyro and the other people who want to play this game won't be able to get into the game and actually be able to play it, because all these overpowered bosses are working in connection to prevent the player from actually playing the game. And this is really bad news, Bears. Bad news, Bears. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. They recruit Tom to come help them with this problem because he was able to defeat Mike that is a she in the original Epic. They are hoping that he will be able to help them defeat Mike that is a she 2.0 in the Epic 2 series, in the Epic 2 game. So he recruits them. He makes a contingency within his contract that they have to bring in his entire team, and that includes the players such as Rathia, who is like Tom's best friend in the virtual world. He bring in Serpentia, who is also one of his dear friends and has played with him in multiple raids. Braja and Grythis. I don't know if I mispronounced any of those names, so apologies if I did. But they all get back together and they all are now united to go defeat this evil dragon. Uno Industries has also collected and gathered and hired hundreds of other players to help along with this mission. So this is not like a 5-team effort. This is like a major thing that they all need to work together to do. And so now that they're all gathered, they all go ahead and try and basically win the game back from the AI and win it back for themselves so that players can actually play this game. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the reasons I love this book. Number one reason I love this book so much is because the team, like the main characters, are super duper like diverse and international, and you get that in Connor's writing tone. He doesn't just write everyone with the same tone. If you are a person who doesn't speak English fluently, then maybe you speak it a little brokenly, maybe you emphasize certain words, maybe you don't know certain words, and that is really reflected in how he writes each character. And this, like, the main character's team, Tom's team, Tyro's team, is super diverse. We have Tyro himself, who's from Ireland, obviously. We have Raithia, who's from India. We have Serpentia, who is from Japan. We have Braja, who's an American, and we have Grythus, who's Swedish. So, like, this is like a super diverse team of people, and, like, for example, you can really tell in Serpentia's word choice and her tone when she's writing, when you're reading her, that she is not like a fluent speaking, she doesn't know English fluently. Not that she struggles with words, but she just chooses different words. And it made the book sound so much realistic, and it made the book so exciting, and I really enjoyed having that international aspect in the book itself, because it's so true. Like, the gaming world is far broader than just America or English-speaking countries. Like, there's much more to the gaming world than just America, Westernization, and American culture, and Western culture as a whole. There's much more to it, and you see that in this book, which is what's super exciting about it. I loved it. And another thing I loved is that a lot of lit RPG books I have read, they struggle with the responsibility and the weight of the character's choices. So normally, typically, a character is like pretty much just confronted with the problems within the actual game world, and you see that quite a bit, where like they're really, the only issue that they're having is which, like, the quest is hard, the quest has moral dilemmas within the quest, but once again, it's much more difficult for like readers such as I to place meaning and place weight onto those decisions, when at the end of the day you realize it's just a video game, which makes you like kind of like throw yourself to the side a little bit and kind of forget that this is about a game to a certain degree, in order to basically understand that what kind of problems and the weight of the problems that the characters are dealing with. In this book, you don't have to, because there is a real life problem in this book. Yuno Industries actually has this dragon that is actually taking over their Epic game, and they need to get rid of it. I also didn't mention when I was summarizing the book is that they only have 2 months to do this. Like, there's a deadline involved. There's actual weight. If Yuno can't make this happen and make it work out so players can play Epic 2, they'll probably go bankrupt. This is a no bueno situation, and this is an actual thing that like a real world company would have to deal with. So the weight behind the characters' choices and behind how they play the game has actual real life consequences, which is part of the reason I love this book so much, is because it is not just about what's going on in the world, even though majority, 90% of the book is what is going on in the game world. Everything that they decided to do within the game impacts the other 10% of the story and the real life consequences of those actions. Lastly, the third thing I would like to say that I really enjoyed about this book is that I thought that the character work itself was extraordinary. This is definitely not as much of a character-centered story as other books I've read. With that being said, because there's so much plot going on, and there's just not room for that character-centered story, such as we saw in Nine Toes or as we saw in Gamers, there is more of a bigger world plot going on at the same time, so there's just not as much room for it. But Connor doesn't let that stop him. He definitely includes a lot of character growth, character development within the book itself, and that is part of the reason I love this book as well. So with that all being said, I think the only issue, just being because this is an honest review, the only issue I had with the book is that it is quite a hefty book. It's not a small book. I think it was like 600 plus pages on my Kindle, which is not like insane. We're not talking about Brandon Sanderson. I'm saying it's a bigger lit RPG book than I'm used to. And I definitely think that there were parts in it that could have been slimmed down if you wanted to spend less time in this world. But the caveat to that is that I enjoyed this book so much, I wouldn't have minded if you added 10 more chapters that were like just the team of main players just doing random stuff in the game, because I really enjoyed it and I thought it was super fun. And that is really all I have to say about this book. Like, 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was super fantastic. There's a real world plot. My only issue with the book is not really even an issue, because I really just enjoyed being in this world so much. So please, everyone, check out The Dragon's Revenge by Connor Kostic. I highly recommend you guys all check it out. It is a fantastic book written by a fantastic author, and I will be picking up his Epic series soon, so that is something to get stoked for. In addition to all of that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and to comment down below if you guys have read this book. If you guys haven't read this book, let me know your thoughts and feelings towards it. But if you like dragons, if you like lit RPG, if you like gaming, if you like, I don't know, corporate espionage, any of those things, you will enjoy this book. Like, there's so much going on. It's really hard to say that there's one thing that is going to attract everyone. There's also so many things that are going to attract so many different people to this novel, because it has so many different components within it. And it isn't just some overpowered character who gets like super powerful and then moves on with his life and then like defeats everybody. No, like there's strategy involved, there's working together that's involved. The opponents that Tyro and his team are against constantly throughout the entire game are not like tiny little skirmishes. These are like level 15 characters against level 60 plus characters. Like, these are no joke characters with a lot of stuff going on, and there's grinding involved. It's very realistic. Pick it up, people. You guys need to see this book and you guys need to read it ASAP. So that is my review for The Dragon's Revenge by Connor Kostick. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I cannot wait to see you guys downstairs in the comment section down below, and I'll be talking to you guys soon. Bye!